Good evening and welcome to the February 17th, 2026 meeting of the East Bridgewater School Committee. I will take a motion to open the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I'd like to thank East Bridgewater CAM for recording our meeting this evening. We do have two members absent as they are on vacation at school vacation week. Our student rep is not here, so we will jump right into the superintendent's corner.
Great, thank you. So the first few things on the agenda are sort of all wrapped together. The update on my goals. So I know the subcommittee for my evaluation is meeting. We're meeting next week.
26.
Oh, the 25th.
Okay, so, and I tentatively put together a schedule that I had shared with Ellen so that I can have all my evidence uploaded and the link shared with the committee by April 1st. And then that would give the committee about 3 weeks to review all of the data in there, to do their assessment, and then the subcommittee is going to meet somewhere around the April 20th, the week of April 20th, which will give about 2 weeks for the committee to compile everything, meet to review with me, and that puts us right on track for the May 5th school committee meeting prior to the election, so that the current committee will be able to complete the evaluation and we'll be ready to roll into the next cycle. So along with my goals is my new superintendent's induction, which includes my entry plan. So I'm in this next phase of it. I did all the stakeholder meetings that I've shared with you. I think it might have appeared in 2 packets. I think you got these themes before. They ended up in there again. So at this point in time, I'm in the process of collecting all of the data from the district. So our assessment data, our student success survey data, attendance data, discipline data. So the next report you'll get from me is kind of a culmination of the district data that I've collected. Really just the findings, not supposed to put my take on, how we're going to deal with any of the areas of needed growth, but basically just as this is what we're seeing based on the data we have. And then the combination of the stakeholder feedback and the district data starts us in motion for our strategic planning. So I sent all of you an email along with all of our stakeholder groups looking for participation in the strategic planning committee. So at this point in time, I have district and building leadership on board, 2 staff members from each of the schools, a student from grade 10, a student from grade 11, a parent from each of the 3 schools, 2 town officials, and just looking for 1 school committee member. So you can let me know. The dates have all been set. There's 6 dates, the first one beginning March 2nd. And speaking with the leadership team, we talked a lot about when to schedule these meetings to make sure that we get the participation we're looking for. And certainly having staff and students involved, we took that into consideration, and so that's why we went with the time frame that 1 to 3:30 on those 6 dates, which I know makes it challenging for the committee, but certainly it really motivated us to get students here, to get staff members here, as well as town employees. Our town accountant is representing the committee, as well as one of the superintendents from the DPW. So it's good that we have that well-roundedness. Hopefully we can complete the committee with a school committee member, and we'll go through the strategic planning. The strategic planning will also include us developing a mission and vision along with our multi-year strategic plan. So in the secondary packet that you received, you'll see first is the invitation, the one that went to the school committee, but it looks very similar to the one that went to all the stakeholder groups. The second part of the packet is actually the work that we'll be doing with the Teaching and Learning Alliance. We'll have a consultant that'll be working with us through the strategic planning process. And I think I mentioned to the committee before, I'm excited because it really allows me to be part of the group and not facilitating and potentially swaying the conversation. So It allows me to remain very impartial as we go through that strategic planning process. You'll see in the proposal, it has the full approach to going through the strategic planning. The first part is usually that stakeholder feedback. They typically do that, but because that was part of my entry plan, we really zipped through that first part, and now we can start looking at mission and vision as we start to look at what the initiatives are for the district. So you can see in that packet is their overall approach, all the phases, what each meeting will cover, so that by the time we get to our final meeting in June, we will have a strategic plan that's ready to go and implemented for the start of the new school year. Before I move on, any questions about strategic planning, entry plan, the time frame for my evaluation?
All good here.
Great. Good. Next,
I just have to send out emails to people about finding out, just to narrow down what dates we'll be meeting when we
Okay.
have our.
yeah, so I figured given a window of time, we'll give some flexibility for people's schedules. Great. Next is a little technology update, a very little technology update, because I know the committee will have executive session on Thursday at 11 o'clock. That will be a virtual call with the cybersecurity attorneys from Arctic Wolf. They'll give you a more involved update, but just to kind of let you know globally from a district perspective, certainly, huge kudos to not only our town technology director, Ryan McGonigal, but certainly our tech department here in the district, Andrew Lamacchia, Brian Bartolea, Josh Kavanaugh, led by Mr. Shea. They have worked endless days, nights, weekends, just to get us back on track. All laptops were collected, Chromebooks have been distributed to all the teachers, new Wi-Fi's been set up. I think at this point we're pretty much 98%?
95.
95. I was optimistic. But, the conversations that I had with not only staff, but with building leaders through that period of time, maybe a couple of weeks, although obviously it gives us a little bit of a setback, knowing we rely on technology so much. A lot of the comments I heard was it was a little refreshing that they were going back to some of the old school ways of teaching, back to conversations that were being had, even, running into some students throughout the hallways, and they're like, we're actually talking to each other, which was nice. Nurses were saying low numbers of students that were coming to the nurse's office reporting headaches, and so it really gives us a little bit of pause to think about how much we are using technology and maybe being a little bit more deliberate in shutting things down on occasion so that we can get people back to having those conversations, getting back to learning. The funny story in kindergarten, students who have just grown up with technology, to see their teacher leading their responsive classroom, their open meeting, their agenda setting, and a student looked at her and said, how do you know all of this? Because they're so used to looking at the screen and seeing all that information on the screen that they were amazed that it actually was coming from the teacher. I don't know if there's anything else. I know it's hard to get into specifics while we're still in the process of investigating the hows and whys and whats and strategy moving forward. But unfortunately, multiple districts have seen this, actually 2 other districts on the exact same day as us. So it's definitely a trend and something that we need to make sure that we're always updating our protocols and making sure all staff are adhering to those protocols to keep us and our information safe.
Look forward to the executive session on Thursday.
Great. Let's see, building committee update. You may have noticed out back some snow blowing of the field. We have secured, I think I shared at the last meeting, Gil Bain as our construction manager at risk. They have now, as of today, they have taken over that property. They are actually snow blowing around the perimeter so that they can start moving the softball equipment off the area There will be a combination of surplusing and salvaging of things. We'll get back to you with a list once we have confirmed those. They'll be putting up fencing, a barrier fencing around the entire area. And so then in the weeks to come, you will start to see the soil being delivered and deposited onto the site, approximately 30,000 yards of soil that will be brought in by, I think they said 1,500 truckloads over a period of weeks. That soil will sit there for approximately 10 months, and then not all of it will be removed. Some of it will be removed. Other parts of it will be distributed around the site, and we're looking at about this time next year for them to actually break ground and start the construction. So, first phase of our construction has officially begun. They were very mindful of our arrival and dismissal times, although, families will see an impact. They should not see any delays. No deliveries will happen during arrival and dismissal of Central School or the junior senior high school. There will be a detail on Route 18. That's the route that the trucks will be coming and going from. They'll come south to north on 18. They'll drop off the soil, and then they'll go right back out and head back south on 18. So trying to keep that congestion away from the center of town, but certainly we're going to need some patience and flexibility, especially those that work right across the street. But it's exciting to see that the first phase has begun in the construction. A Parent Square message went out today as well, just to let parents know that they can expect to see those changes happening. Anything else on the Central School? Next is MedSafe gift cards. We have a community member in town who works for MedSafe. This community member anonymously has donated gift certificates to us in the past. She has always asked to remain anonymous, but we truly appreciate the generosity that she has shown us. She was actually sharing with her boss at MedSafe that she has done this over the years, and her boss said, let's join in those efforts. So they delivered 10 $25 gift certificates to Market Basket, and they'll continuously do this in quarterly rounds for us to give to our guidance counselors to share with families in need. So I truly appreciate MedSafe and our anonymous resident in town who has been so generous and supportive. So I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. Next, the budget process. I know we have March 17th as the budget presentation. The budget subcommittee has met twice. I don't think we have another date, but John and I were at the department head meeting this morning, and Town Administrator Charlie Seelig said that Finance Committee should be reaching out to each of the departments with some dates for meeting. So that should be coming. And lastly, but not under my corner, I wanted to share with you, you might have heard the buzz if you have some high schoolers, but new expectations are being piloted and put into place when students return for grades 9 through 12 at the junior senior high school. There has been a committee working on cell phone expectations. The committee then unanimously decided, let's pilot this between now and the end of the year, make sure that we're accounting for everything so that when we go to school committee for this policy to be added to our handbooks, we'll know that we've accounted for everything. So Mr. Silver and Mr. Walsh met with all students in grades 9 through 12. Every staff member was at least at one of the two identical presentations. Mrs. McPartland and myself were there as well. Not too many groans, a little grumbling, but certainly great questions from the students as to when they can and when they cannot. Certainly some concerns from students about without having that with them, what are they to do if, we heard things like, what if I fall down in the bathroom, or what if there's a lockdown? So, they're asking good questions, and as they go through this pilot, I'm sure they'll identify other things that may come up. Mr. Silver did mention we do have students who do rely on their cell phones for whether it's academic programming or medical needs, and so those exceptions certainly will be made on a case-by-case basis. But pretty much all 9 through 12 students should expect that they can have their cell phones when they're passing between classes and when they're at lunch. Seniors can have it during their senior lab or AP lab, but during those class times, bell to bell, they are to remain in the holders. Every classroom will have a holder. The expectations will not be different from one classroom to the next as to they can keep them in their bags, they can keep them on their desk. They are all in a holder. Most of our teachers are planning to use that as attendance taking, so if they're not in the holder, that will affect whether they're considered present or not. Some holders are right on the teacher's desk, some are hanging on the wall, but they'll make sure that it's clear to all students upon entering the room where that holder is. And there could be random checks done to make sure that it is their actual cell phone in the holder, because we have heard that students sometimes purchase other things that might resemble a cell phone. So they're always one step ahead of us. So that will start beginning Monday, February 23rd. And that's all that I have, unless there's any questions from the committee.
Is there an expectation for the faculty that they won't be using their phones during classroom time as well?
So that question came up from students as well as to whether staff members have their phones or not. There really shouldn't be any reason why staff are using their cell phones during class time, except in an emergency. Certainly for us, it's a backup in case technology ever becomes an issue. We want to make sure that there is that backup. But certainly we want to model for students as well those expectations, so we should see very limited use of cell phones from staff during class time.
What if there's a study hall or like a substitute teacher?
Even when there's substitute teachers, if it's a class period, there is no cell phone. Ms. De Silva has given the exception for senior labs, which is kind of a study hall for any students that have 2 or more AP classes. Mrs. McPartland and I feel otherwise, but we'll save that for next year. They can have their phone during that time, not during Viking block though, but they can have it at lunch as well. And he also said, if you come in late and school has started, you cannot be using it in the hall because it is during class time. So only those minutes between classes that they can use it in the hallway. If a student is to use the bathroom during class, the phone stays in the classroom.
You said there was a committee that got together to discuss this. Can you
Yes.
just tell us what was the committee made up of? Was it students and faculty, or?
Mr. Silva had representation from staff, from students, and then parents from his school council that all weighed in on the expectations.
Great.
Good.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks. Don't be calling your kids here in school.
Okay, so let's go through. So we had 2 subcommittee meetings since we last all got together. Those are in here somewhere. This side. And
Do
so
you want to
there
talk
are
about the budget one? Are you on the budget?
I'm on the budget one, yeah. I mean, I think we can tie in the budget when John goes over the financials.
Oh, okay, I'm on the policy one.
Do you want to give an update there then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the policy subcommittee met on February 11th. That was last week. Seems like an eternity ago. And it was to go over a policy that was brought to me by Gina, Dr. Williams. And it's audio and or video recording of private meetings in school facilities. And when I met with Peter, we both agreed that we should bring it to the full committee and that we were okay with it. And also, so I ended up, because it has no file number, I called MASC to find out what file number we should use. And actually, Woburn has the same, well, they have a very similar policy. They just have a little bit different at the end. We just have an extra couple of sentences. But I have the file number too. It's IKACC, and that was after the agenda was done. So I just wanted to tell you guys that. So that's here for us, and it should be an action item on on the agenda. But I don't know if Dr. Williams had anything to add about this particular policy or not.
Sure, and then I can have Mr. Phelan add to it if there's anything I forgot. But basically, something doesn't come up until it comes up. So we have had a few instances where parents have asked to audio or video record meetings. Specifically, it's come up for IEP meetings. And certainly, anytime audio or video recording is going to be done, it needs the approval of everyone at the meeting. So we figured having a policy in place just will eliminate any of uncertainty as to when and why we would be conducting audio or video recording. In our experience, requests that have come in the past usually are due to a disability, whether it be a short-term or long-term disability of someone attending the meeting. I think the example was maybe like long COVID, where people were experiencing short-term memory issues, or if someone's diagnosed with attention deficit. There might be things that would preclude them from being able to fully retain everything from the meeting. So it has come up for other reasons. So Mr. Phelan got in touch with our legal counsel from Mercy Hesse, Toomey, and Lehane, and got some guidance on that.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly does. It really did come out of COVID in particular. We had a lot of people there were a lot of people across the state who had issues with either long COVID, memory issues, executive functioning issues coming out of that. And certainly had asked for that accommodation, right? Based on the advice of Murphy, Hesse, Toomey, Lehane, with support, you can allow that, but we have to allow our staff to have that opportunity to consent to being recorded. We've had a couple of requests this year, not necessarily out of an accommodation need. So we did consult with Murphy, Hesse, Toomey, Lehane. They just said it'd be best to have that policy around it. What are we doing as a district instead of trying to set it case by case? Because if one group allows it, one group does not, that's where you really run into your issues.
And you would like this to be put into place as soon as possible?
That would be great.
So then, do you want to wait till the action section, or do you want to wait and do it now?
Yeah, it's the last one on the action, so we can do it then.
Okay.
And
I just have to make a motion to waive the first reading, and I just have to, when we get to that, I'll just do it. when we
Okay.
get there.
like teachers' unions reviewed and they're all fine with it and everything?
No.
No?
Typically, we haven't
Okay.
done policy by.
Okay.
But we have our standard monthly meeting next week, so certainly I can share that with them. to
Okay.
make sure they're aware. I mean, they're aware of some of the challenges we faced because some of the staff members have been part of those meetings, so we can just make sure that they're aware that the policy is now in place to keep that consistent
Okay.
measure.
Okay, sounds good. Any other updates from policy?
No.
No? Okay. March 30th is the MASC Day on the Hill. I know I got a postcard in the mail, postcard or something from MASC, and we've got information in our packet. I know Ellen is planning on going. I'm planning on going. Dr. Williams and Assistant Superintendent. Anyone else is welcome. But we'll report back after it, I suppose. School committee goals. Materials are enclosed.
And if you let Mike know, he can sign you up. Because
Oh,
there's
okay.
a cost involved also.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he said he registered us today,
Yep.
so he can do that for you.
Okay. So school committee goals.
It should be in here in the red
There we go.
line.
Yep. So the goal committee met, or subcommittee, I should say.
Where is it?
It's all the way at the back.
Oh. Way at the back.
You're
Okay.
right.
Yes, so we met and then we changed back. This one got added back. It had erroneously been deleted or whatever. The mid-cycle review, that got added back. And then we decided to take away, to change the end of goal 2, where it says student well-being and success, the description is, we just made it so that it would simply state, ensure district-wide test data collection and data analysis results are shared as available throughout the year.
Makes sense to me.
And that was the only thing that was changed, those two things.
Okay.
Besides, we updated the years, but that wasn't in the red line. That was probably done before the red line. So it's for FY, actually, we probably should change that. Instead of FY '26, since we're already halfway through the year, we probably should make it FY '27, '28, and '29. Thoughts, questions, concerns?
No. Sounds good to me.
Okay. So we'll vote on that at the end too, action item.
Yes. Yep, that's on there.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Shea and the business finance report.
Sure. It's also in your packet that Dr. Williams handed out tonight. On the first page, so this is the same type of report that I've been doing for the last couple of meetings. The first section at the top of page 1 is where I estimate where we're going to end up at the end of the year. That's based upon our accounting system and also my salary model, which I do in Excel. So I think at the last meeting, I had a total available balance. You can see right now it's 165. I think at the last meeting might have been about 205. So it's holding fairly steady. I've reviewed the expenses. Nothing is jumping out. I think we had a student that went from day to residential, which we accounted for in the budget already. So that was that was not a surprise. We had budgeted for that. I don't know if you have any questions, but again, the total of the soft-right reports from the accounting system and my estimate of salary for the remainder of the year has a negative balance of $1.6 million. If you take into account the school choice revolving fund, which we had voted to use in the budget this year of $250,000, there's also busing fee revolving and circuit breaker revolving. That's where I come up with the positive balance of $165,578. Please disregard the school facility line. I did not update that. I shouldn't have included that. I just need to get access back to the software system for the school facility lines in the accounting system. All good? Any questions on that? This next page is a comparison, which was requested by the school committee, where we are now at this point, this fiscal year versus where we were at this point last fiscal year. I mean, there's a lot of differences in the year with funding and circuit breaker. So, but this at least gives you an idea of the status of the non-salary, the salary, and the busing lines this year versus last year. And again, please disregard the school facility line. I'll have that updated for next meeting. You may see that on the salary line, This year, we have an available balance of 9.8 million. Last year, we had an available balance of 10.3. That's something that would stick out to me if I was you guys. So the reason for that is the salary line does not include a reclass yet of expenses for school choice. So if you add that, if you take that 9.8 million and add 250,000, that gets you to 10,077,000, which is a lot closer to the 10.3 million. Also, last year, we were under budget at the end of the year with 76,000. Take that 76,000, subtract it from the 10.3, so that kind of gets you an idea. We're pretty much where we were last year at this time. And also, the budget was $150,000 less this year. Revolving fund balances, again, this is a comparison of where we are today versus where we were last year, and I think you'll see we're very consistent with where we were last year at this time. Circuit breaker obviously is higher. Let's see, school choice is almost the same as we were last year, which is expected. Athletic fund, we're at negative balance at last year at this time. That's just an accounting transfer that needed to be made. Preschool, close to last year. The tuition did revolving, close to last year. School building rental, again, last year at this time was a negative balance, but that was because we were expecting accounts receivable revenue. So I like to see the school building rental climbing up. I mean, that helps us in cases of, small items, $5,000, $10,000 items like projector breaks in the auditorium or something like that. That helps us fund that. Questions on this?
Nope.
It was just a jump in the music. I was just wondering what that included.
Yeah, we haven't used the music revolving fund for expenses this year at all.
Did we want to get another budget subcommittee meeting scheduled?
Yeah, so, we definitely need one, but I think we need some more direction from the town
Okay.
on where we're at, where they would like us to come in at. In the beginning, it was 2% of non-fixed expenses, a reduction. Now, I know they've talked about changes to the health insurance, reducing the overall town health insurance budget from a 12% increase to a 6 or 8% increase, but that's still, I don't think they have the final numbers on that yet.
Okay.
That would certainly help out overall in the budget. They talked about different ways to be able to fund the Plymouth County, some of the Plymouth County retirement, which would reduce that expense and help out in the budget. So
Was there any talk at the department head meeting today about the impact of the snow budget on the?
No.
No.
We did meet with principals last week.
Yes.
Last week, just to kind of develop a plan, a what-if plan. So I think we have a pretty good plan in place.
Okay.
So we definitely need another budget subcommittee because we're going to need one before the public presentation.
Right, right.
Any word about the Plymouth County retirement?
No, I haven't heard anything.
I happened to talk to Bridget Pluff, who said that they were trying to see if they could help us, or maybe make it so that we have longer to pay, or I don't know.
I mean, if you
I
look
haven't
at
heard
every
anything
article that every town is putting out, they're calling that one of the major problems in their town finances.
Yeah.
I have to imagine something.
I'll reach back out to Bridget and Alice and Sullivan and see if they have anything else to say about it.
The one thing regarding the 27 budget that I'm anxiously awaiting is the results of the VOTEC lotteries.
So Norfolk has completed theirs. We have one student that was accepted, and I believe 4 or 5 that were waitlisted. Bristol Aggies is on March 2nd, and I believe we have 6 students who have applied for that.
I think Southeast
Southeastern
is,
in March.
I thought it was this week, maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, this will be the first year that Southeastern is going to, or do they all?
First year for all of them.
That they went to straight lottery. Students can earn multiple lottery tickets for different factors, I think attendance, maybe there's like an essay, an interview, things like that, as to how many tickets they have with a max, I believe, of 3. But so it may look a little bit different as far as the number of students that get accepted. Typically on any given year, I believe between agricultural schools and vocational schools, we have about 25 students maybe that attend. So I think our guidance counselor had said we had somewhere in the mid-50s that applied to Southeastern.
Oh, wow. Okay. Any questions? Nope. Okay. Super eval software, superintendent evaluation. I know Gina kind of talked about that when she gave her, her update.
I have one thing to add about the
Sure.
super eval software, so, let me see where I put it. One thing I wanted to mention is that, so in the workshop that we had, so there was a question, I had a question for the person that was David, the person that was doing the workshop that he was presenting to us. And the question was about making comments for if it's anything other than proficient, for like needs improvement, unsatisfactory, or exemplary. And so in their software, they allow comments for needs improvement and unsatisfactory, but not for exemplary. And so I asked him, I let him know that we need to be able to do that, and I asked, and he was gonna look into it, talking to the IT department or whatever. And so he got back to me and he said that at this time, it's not possible, and that they would have to, it would be changed across all servers, or however they have it set up with their system. And, but there is a workaround, and so the workaround is, once the evaluation goes to step 4, that the trusted agent would be able to review any rating listed as exemplary, and if they find any that have no comments submitted, that they can move the evaluation back to step 3 and release it back to that committee member to make sure that they add their comments. So I wrote back to him, and I also CC'd Gretchen, because she's his boss, and I said that in the entire state of Massachusetts, that this is, it's required in the entire state of Massachusetts. So I don't know if he was thinking it was just our district or what, so, that we need to be able to make comments for all, for everything. So if there's needs improvement, unsatisfactory, and exemplary. So I don't know if they're gonna change anything in their system. It would be nice if they did, so we didn't have to do the workaround, but.
So does it allow you to make comments, it's just not a required box to fill, or it won't even let you make comments?
Doesn't let you, when you go through it the first time, it doesn't let you.
But then if you send it back to the previous and go back again, it then?
Yes, that's what I was getting, that's what I was getting from it.
Bizarre.
Yeah, it is bizarre. So I guess we'll know when we go through it, when we go through the actual process.
Well, yeah, with all those exemplaries that you'll be checking off. Just kidding.
Awesome, thank you for
I'd
that.
just like to make sure everything's the way that it should be.
Yeah.
And I think when we had that call with him, he had said that multiple states use this evaluation system, so it is, although it is a requirement for Massachusetts, it's not necessarily a requirement for the
Right.
other states, so.
And then, my question was, but I didn't put it in my email, is are we the only district in Massachusetts that uses their software? And this is the first time they're encountering this issue? That's my question, but I didn't ask that. It's not my business.
No, but you could ask for references of other districts that use them.
I don't think it's forward to ask how many districts they work with in the state.
That was it.
Okay. Mr. Phelan's update?
Oh,
Whoop.
actually, I take that back, the trusted agent.
Sorry.
We have to decide who you want to be the trusted agent. Do you want it to be me, or you, or anybody? I mean, it should be someone on the superintendent evaluation subcommittee, or it could be you.
I mean, you're on the subcommittee. Might as well do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll let them know.
We deem you the trusted agent.
I'll let them know.
Okay.
Now that you're the trusted agent, you can go back and ask for references.
Right.
Say the trusted agent wants to.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Phelan.
All right. Well, thank you. You have in your packet, the supplemental packet that Dr. Williams gave out to you, a copy of our integrated monitoring review report that just came out a few weeks ago. Just as a quick flashback, if you guys remember, back in November, we had talked about the fact that the Department of Ed was coming by. Their public school monitoring division comes out, give you a little history on it. Every 3 years, public schools in Massachusetts are in a loop of monitoring. They have a Group A and a Group B, they call it. Every 6 years, you do a Group A, and every 6 years, you do a Group B. This one was our Group B. There's a wealth of information that they get from districts. Long before they come out, there's policies that are sent up, handbooks are sent up, attendance records are sent up. There are records of parents and contact information of parents, so the parents are interviewed, staff are interviewed, building administrators are interviewed, members of the central office are interviewed. I mean, there's a wealth of work that goes into it, from building administration, central office people, Ms. McKinney, Ms. Connors in my office, my IEP coordinators are all kind of full bore getting this uploaded and in over the course of the summer. Jen had the pleasure of doing that this summer. So there's a wealth of information that goes into it. On November 19th, Talia Higginbotham, who was our chair, came out, observed. She spends a day in the district, sometimes 2, but this time she only spent a day. She came around, she observes in every school, she walks through the building, she pops into classrooms, she's looking at things like facilities, she's looking at not necessarily teacher evaluations, but she's looking at the learning that's going on. When she comes out of that, we have a debrief, which we did with her virtually. Everything that she said was positive. She saw a lot of great things, and she's mentioned that to me in phone calls since. She saw a lot of great things in our district. There are a few things that come out when you look at the report. Really, you either get implemented, partially implemented, or it's not, you've got to correct it. All of our items were either implemented or partially implemented. Some of the things are record-keeping pieces. We have one that goes back, and just a flashback with you guys, we have one that goes back, it's called CR10A, which has to do with discrimination and harassment policy. That had to be updated in the handbooks. We came back to the school committee for a vote because it was in the handbooks. Unfortunately, our vote came in after the paperwork had to be turned in. So they had to note it in there. We've already talked about it. I know Jen, Dr. Williams, and myself met today as well, just to talk about we're just going to send that up. We've had conversations, like I said, with Talia, with her supervisor, about getting that just sent up, and it'll be cleared out. They give you time up to a year to do any kind of correction, updated information. So we're in the phase now of responding to some of their questions, setting up timetables to get those responses, and we'll certainly have that in place long before a year happens in most of our cases. Any questions?
No, I'm sure it was a lot of work.
It certainly was. I give a lot of credit to, like I said, Ms. McKinney, Ms. Connors, who had to get that information, be able to get it uploaded, scanned. I mean, it really is about kind of getting a team effort going when you do these. One of the things I know Gina and I spoke about this morning as well, is it in there? I looked through and I'm not sure if it's in your packet, but one of the things they look at is something called timeout spaces. There's going to be a new directive that just came down from Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the Department of Ed regarding timeout and seclusion. They have new definitions for timeout and seclusion, and what those spaces look like and what they will be. By August 17th of 2026, all districts have to adhere to these new regulations. One of the things that was a comment to us in our district is that we're already there. We don't have any seclusion rooms, but our timeout spaces are more used as calming spaces for our kids, which is part of that new regulation. Students having the opportunity to kind of come and go. They need to be age appropriate. They need to be clean. They need to be, no wires hanging. I mean, some of the comments that were made during the observation, I was like, okay, we have places where wires are hanging and kids are jumping off tables, and that's a little dangerous, I would think. So, but we were already ahead of the game. So I certainly don't think that that's going to change for us.
We were talking earlier that, 29 areas were reviewed, and I think you always go to, what's wrong, what do we need to fix? But we don't want to lose sight of, as Mr. Phelan said, the special education department, all the civil rights work under Jen, 22 of the areas were fully compliant. So, it's nice to know that we just have a few areas that we need to make sure that we're up to date on. Some of those were even just teacher licensure, making sure that they're renewing in a timely fashion. And then, as you know, all the work that's going on with policies and making sure that our handbooks adequately display all the information for parents. So.
This page where it says the summary of compliance ratings, is that the place we would focus on for as far? So it looks like we did pretty well.
Yeah.
We just have some things that are partially implemented, and everything, I mean, a lot of things have been implemented. It looks good.
Yeah.
Right.
The
job.
pages after the summary page talk specifically about those partially implemented ones.
Yeah.
And then the non-compliance, so that you can see down at the very bottom, it tells you what needed to be updated.
And some of those are things we've already addressed, knowing that this was coming out.
Good. Excellent job.
I think the district did a great job on it. I agree.
What was the CR10A?
Oh, so in the handbooks, and just to give you a kind of a quick version of it.
Is that what you said earlier about the handbooks?
in the
Oh, okay,
handbooks, we
okay,
had to
sorry,
have
I
a
missed
piece
the
on
letter.
discrimination and harassment. When we looked at it as a district, there was a link in there in our handbooks, but it wasn't spelled out. And one of the ways that the department looks at it is, if a parent didn't have internet access, would they be able to access that link? So that's why it had to be spelled out in the handbook, and we brought it back to the committee for a vote and just uploaded it, and it was kind of like, okay, it's there, but they did have to put it out there because the vote came after their report.
Okay.
And that was for the high school handbook and all of the handbook. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Mr. Phelan? If not, we'll turn it over to the Assistant Superintendent, please.
Sure. I have just a couple things for you tonight. The first one is a revisit from a couple months ago. There had been a question that came up about one of the graphs I had shared. It was the green and blue one. It looks like this. It was in the supplemental packet tonight. And as a reminder, that was a review from last May. What it does is our iReady data makes a projection about how students are going to perform on MCAS. And over the years, historically, students are pretty in line of how iReady thinks they're going to do versus how they actually do. But we did notice there were two outliers when we looked at the data a couple months ago, and one was in 5th grade ELA and one was in 8th grade math. You can see the bar graphs are a little bit off. So I went back to Curriculum Associates, who is the company that handles iReady, And they didn't have an explanation for me. They said, but they asked, can we take your data? Can we dig into this? And they're going to keep digging. One of the things they're going to do is they're going to then compare it to this year's data to kind of see, like, is this a one-off thing that happened last year, or is it something that they're going to see as an issue with 5th grade ELA and 8th grade math year after year? And if that's the case, they need to address it. So they kind of like chuckles a little bit because we, you know, not too many districts do the comparisons like this. They use the data throughout the course of the year to kind of help teachers decide and drive their instruction, but we also look at it as kind of like a fail-safe. We want to look at and say, are we using, you know, an assessment that really is giving us correct information? So we're just going a little bit deeper. But I took it one step further, and I went and I looked at, I was talking with Dr. Williams this morning about this, and I said, is it just like a weird thing with this group? So I went back a year, and I took those same students for the year before. So I looked at the 4th grade ELA, and I looked at the 7th grade math from the year before, and they did have a gap. So this group of students, it might be something with the way they're testing or whatever, it was a greater distance with the 5th grade ELA than the 4th grade ELA than the 7th grade math, but there was definitely that gap where I already thought they would do better than they did. So I'm interested, I'll let iReady do their comparison of like the 5th and the 8th. I want to look at now this year's group, 1 year advanced, and see how they do. I won't be able to do the 8th grade math because they don't take it in 9th grade, but I'll be able to track them into 6th grade to see. So that was just an update on that particular info. Sticking with iReady, you have another packet here. It's this colorful one here. So last week, I think it was on Friday, we, the administrators and the math and reading specialists in the different buildings and our instructional coach at the junior senior high school, we met with curriculum associates to go over a mid-year data review. And this is a chance where we can look at the growth of our students from the beginning of the year to now, which is really the most important part of the year in my mind, where we can assess like our current teaching, how are our instructional strategies working, are there things we should keep doing because they're working, are there things that we should adjust for certain students? And so in a nutshell, what you're looking at is the first 2 pages are math, the second 2 pages are reading, and the first bar graph represents where our students were performing in the fall, right when they came to us. So anything in the green is considered grade level, either early on grade level or mid or above grade level. So for example, if you look at our kindergarten students, 15% came to us right off the bat at mid or above grade level. And we had 19% at that early on grade level. Right now, mid-year, if you look at those green, we have 61% of our kids at mid or above grade level, and we have 14% early on grade level. So what you're hoping is for, by the end of the year, you're looking for lots of green, and you want the red to be shrinking. So it is a lot to take in, so I'm thinking, feel free to peruse this. I'm happy to revisit at the next meeting if you like, if you want to dig into it. But overall, the results are really good. We're going in the right direction. Our building admins also have the ability to then drill down to the teacher level. So yes, they can look at a whole grade level here, but then they can say, okay, I can see this kindergarten, let me look at all of the kindergarten teachers. So they can start to look at how one classroom compares to another classroom and really like hone into what are they doing that's really working well, how can we spread the wealth and share that. They're also using this data in their classroom conversations, which is the data conversations that they have 3 times a year with their teachers. And so this is just one data point. This is not an end-all be-all, but they use this. They use classroom data. They use their own assessments. They also use social emotional data when they're talking about their students. But this is one piece that factors into all of that.
You know what would be interesting? Well, I don't know if you would have this data from the prior year, like the end of the prior year, to see if there's regression from the end of the year to the fall.
There's always a little bit of regression. Oh, year to year, there's 100% always a little bit of regression, no matter what grade level you go through. You will see that. That's just like a statistically proven fact.
Also keeping in mind that they were tested in the previous level of curriculum as well. So looking at how they performed the end of 1 year, they're being tested on the curriculum in that grade level, and then how they perform at the beginning of this school year, they're graded on, well, no, I guess it's
Where
still
they
the
left it,
beginning of
yeah.
the year.
It's where they left it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's where they left off. So, yep. But like I said, feel free to peruse. I know it's hard on the spot to come up with any questions, but if you do, I'll keep this with me for the next meeting and if something comes up. I do want to point out, though, if you flip to the third page, and if you look at our K-3 results for reading, I mean, the amount of green you see there is pretty amazing. And this is our second year implementing UFly, so that foundational phonics program. So our teachers have been very happy with it. We're also seeing similar data with, we use Dibbles, which is another assessment tool, and we are also seeing similar results with that. Our students, in terms of reading, are really jumping in those foundational grades, which is amazing.
The kindergarten statistic for the winter's
Yeah.
outstanding.
It's great.
Yeah.
And just so you know, you'll never have red in kindergarten, just so you know, because the red represents 2 or 3 grade levels below. The test doesn't go that far down. So it always looks really good, but, you know, we won't ever have red there. But that green is absolutely amazing. To have 90% of our students at or above grade level.
And will you have the same report for the end of the year?
Yep.
Oh, good.
I'll have it, and
I
it'll
look
have
forward to it.
3 bars there, or it'll have just the fall right as it jumps to the spring. Yep. I can do that.
That's great.
No, I find it interesting.
About the conversations that 7th and 8th are having
Yeah.
right now?
So 7th and 8th grade, if you look at their data, so that would be the 2nd and 4th page.
A lot of them were all 3 grade levels behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it, so we brought this up, we spent quite a bit of time on 7th and 8th grade, and it's a hard group to motivate, and we're not the only ones seeing that. Across the state, across the country, they said to us, it's just a really difficult group to try to get that motivation going, to try to get them to take something like this seriously as much as, you know, the younger kids tend to. So that could be one factor. The other thing is intervention. The structure right now in 7th and 8th grade doesn't allow for a lot of like an intervention block or a win block, the what I need now type of block. So there's conversations happening about how can we address individual student needs in the structure that we have in place right now, or what other structures could we be putting in place to support these students. So I had a conversation with our instructional coach at the junior senior high school, and she's going to be working with some of the math classes when we get back, and really how can they even structure their own classroom to meet more individual needs within the confines of what they have at the time.
Do you think it's possible, I don't know how long the 7th and 8th grade have not been using their phones in the classroom. Has it been the entire year?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you may or may
This
not.
this probably goes back to COVID, I would imagine. These kids would have been 7, 8 back during that time. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, we don't see the engagement levels the same at 7th and 8th grade. You know, their first question always is, you know, what does this mean? You know, if I don't do well, or if I do well, does this have anything to do with, you know, me going on to the next grade? Or, and so having to build that internal motivation. I know individual teachers have set some goals and
Incentifying, yep.
incentives, for them to take it more seriously. But I think to Jen's point, as students age, gaps form, and if we don't have deliberate time in their day for those what I need now blocks, for them to have that intervention to kind of fill in the gaps of those missing skills, they're just going to continuously be lacking, because they're trying to keep up with grade level expectations without having that opportunity to backfill some of those missing skills.
Jen, would you be able to look at their performance 3 years ago, the same segmentation of 7th and 8th grade, and see how they were performing 3 years ago?
Just like this,
Yeah.
like those kinds of bars, like look at how,
Yeah.
yeah. Just to like track a cohort of kids and,
Yep.
yeah, I could do that. All right. The last thing I just want to share with you is the school calendar. This is the draft we have, and if it is all set to go, we'd be looking for approval tonight if possible. So first off the bat, I know it is sideways versus vertical. That is simply just because for readability, it's a little bit easier to read this way and to edit, but when it's all said and done, it will be on a regular sheet of paper. This was put together with input from our PD Academy, which is administrators and teacher representatives across the district. We also had input from the EBEA as they looked over the entire program of the year. So just some areas of note that you'll see that are a little bit of change. So August 25th would be a return for our staff. That is 3 days. August 25th is actually the exact same date that we returned this year. But what's shocking on a calendar when you look at it quickly is it's 2 weeks before Labor Day.
Yeah,
Because
Labor
Labor
Day
Day
is
is
super late,
really
yeah.
late this year, yes. So it was proposed actually by staff that we do 3 days of our 3 professional days in August. We'll do a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That'll give teachers a long weekend, and then we will come back for a 5-day school week. So that would be different for parents and families. They're used to coming the last few years for like 2 days. Instead, they'll come for a full week before Labor Day.
Oof, come on.
And this, you say oof, however,
So just the Tuesday, the 25th, 26th, and 27th?
teachers only, to staff only, yep. Yep. So students would start on the 31st, which if you think back, that's really a normal start date for us is on the calendar. Many districts right now, everybody shifted a week. Even districts who had it in their contracts that they don't ever start before Labor Day, opened their contracts to start a week before, because if not, it pushes the calendar at the end of the year really late. There are 2 election days that have to happen this year as well. One of them is August 1st. But Dr. Lims has spoken with the town, and they believe that we can handle August 1st here, figuring out parking and everything here at the high school. But the one on November 3rd, we're going to have off as a professional day for staff.
What's
to
on
avoid
August
that.
September 1st.
I'm sorry.
Oh, September.
I'm sorry, I said August 1st.
You've been
didn't
looking
I?
at the calendar too much.
I am just kind of forget I'm done with the calendar. So yes, September 1st and then November 3rd.
And
Yep,
what's September 1st again?
there's an election,
Oh, okay.
a voting
Yeah.
day, yeah. It's a town.
I think it's mostly ballot questions, I believe, Katie Kavanaugh had
Yeah.
said. So she got back to me last week and said, definitely we can work to make the September 1st date work for school to be in session. We would just secure the gym. We wouldn't even need people to come through the lobby. We have 2 doors on the exterior of the gym, so we could have an officer on a detail with people just going in one gym door and exiting the other gym door. But as Mrs. McPartland said, the November 3rd is a little bit more involved, being a primary, that we just would want to make sure with the amount of traffic coming to the building, it'd be better to not have school. So we
Right.
would have that as a professional development day like we have in the past.
And that has us ending on June 14th. And you can see this year coming up, that kind of gives us 3 cancellation days before we would hit the Juneteenth holiday. Juneteenth is on a Saturday, but federally it would be observed on a Friday, so that's why it's written on there.
Yep.
Any questions?
And all the parent-teacher conference days, or all of those days are pretty much the same as?
Yep, they're all in there. The only shift that happened was the junior, senior high school requested a 1-week difference in their parent-teacher conferences. They felt that they were a little too early in terms of getting to know their students, so they just shifted by 1 week, but everything else is pretty much in line with where it was this school year.
Thank you.
Sure.
Looks good.
Lots of little boxes and colors, and
And then it's gonna go back on the 8.5 by, no, that's, whatever that legal size is.
yep, we'll get it all formatted once it's approved.
Sounds good to me. Thank you for the update.
Great.
Okay, if not, we'll move on to action items. I will entertain a motion to approve payroll warrant 29 PS dated 1/14/26.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Entertain a motion to approve payroll warrant 31 PS dated January 28th, 2026.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the school committee goals per the materials enclosed in our packets.
And that was, we discussed.
Yeah. We're,
The red
years
line
27,
version.
28, 29?
Yes.
Yes.
Does everybody want to stick with that?
We can amend it to those years, yep.
Okay.
Makes sense.
And so I'll have to bring it back to the next meeting, because the thing that needs to be changed is the years on this one.
All right, so we'll
To
vote on
sign.
it the next,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Well, we can vote on it now and just sign it the next meeting, it doesn't matter.
That's fine, yeah, because they're not here anyway. So,
Oh,
that's fine, we can vote tonight.
okay.
So, do I have a motion?
So moved. Or did you already say with motion?
Yeah.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. I'll add an item to our agenda to entertain a motion to approve the draft East Bridgewater Public Schools 2026-2027 school year calendar as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Are we sure we want to have them go back 5 full days?
It was actually proposed by the staff to do the 5 full days. Because once you start taking off days,
Yeah, so right now, the last day of school is June 9th, right?
no.
June 14th.
14th.
June
Yeah.
14th.
9th
which
is for
which
pre-K and
Monday.
K.
Okay.
So if you had
Yep.
5 snow days, you could
Or you had a couple of cancellation days, yeah.
be
Yeah.
at almost July.
It would be June 22nd is the
Be
one
after
with
June
5.
22nd, yeah.
That's late.
You can't help when Labor Day is, you can't.
It is
gotta
what it
go with-
is.
Yeah. So I say, do we vote?
We had a motion
That
and a
was the
second.
discussion.
I say, I approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll let everyone know it wasn't your idea.
And then I'll entertain a motion to waive the required.
Yeah, so, waive the first reading.
The first reading of the school committee policy, audio and/or video recordings of private meetings in school facilities.
It's going to be file number IKACC. So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Then entertain a motion to approve the school committee policy, audio and/or video recordings of private meetings in school facilities, file
File
IKACC.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any other topics? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your.